We are live today. We are live, and it's a glorious Thursday. I haven't been outside yet, but I know it is glorious because I'm alive to see it. Today, we're talking about tenderness. Just a little bit of tenderness with oneself. What does it mean? Because sometimes we are so harsh on ourselves. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not good enough. And it goes on and on. Who says it? Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah. It goes on and on. We do it all the time. And we do it all the time and think that that is acceptable behavior. And we think it has no effect on us. When in actuality, that is not the case. You see, our attitude, I keep hearing people say thoughts create things. And I'm like, no. Your thoughts are there as a result of something else. And it is that thing that determines the thought, which then determines the outcome of your experience. You see, because when we don't understand the full 360 degrees, like the whole thing, and that's what the principles do, they show you 360 degrees. That's what they show you. They don't just give you part of the picture, they give you all of the picture. And what is all of the picture? All of the picture is that mood that is all encompassing. And I cringe a lot when I um hear about oh, you got to do this to manifest that. You got to do that to manifest this. Listen, manifestation happens as a result of you existing. Period. Nothing more, nothing less. And so sometimes when we want to make a change in our lives, sometimes we stop when we think of just this one thing or that one thing. No, look at 360 degrees. What kind of life do you want? That is how you build. You don't just say, well, I want a master bedroom. No, you decide the type of house that you want. And so when we start to manifest this here and that here and this here and these little itty bitty pieces, we get lost in the pieces. You're not living a piece of life, you're living all of life. And so sometimes that tenderness with self is required. Well, not sometimes, at all times it is required. Because what ends up happening when we chase a particular thing, yeah? We chase a thing, we say, ooh, I want that, ooh, I want this. You begin to realize that it's not the thing that satisfies, you know? We always say it. Oh, I thought I wanted that, but it didn't really make a difference in my life. Because you have not determined the type of life you want to have. So the tender part would be to sit down and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want for my life? Sure, I want to be a doctor. Ooh, I want to be a lawyer. Ooh, I want to be a teacher. And then what? That is only a piece of the puzzle. But build the whole puzzle. Take your time. Be tender with yourself. Try your little tenderness. I couldn't help myself. It reminded me of Donkey from Shrek. Right? And that's what we're missing. We keep chasing things. Should I give up? Or should I just keep chasing pavements? You know, that's what Adele was singing. Why chase pavements? What kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to live a life of, peace and tranquility? Do you want to live a life of, excitement and whatever? You get to decide what that is. And the reason I said to be tender about it, tender, loving care, the reason I say to be tender with it is because it gives us an opportunity to sit with ourselves and really begin to ask, well, what do I want? What do I want to experience? What types of friends do I want? You see, because listen, if Pitbull can tell you, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Like, hello, what type of friends do you want? So the type of friends that you want, that will determine, your lifestyle. It really does. So if you would choose the type of life that you want to have, you will recognize that different opportunities will present themselves, and you will not just be focused on a little thing over here or a little thing over there, that brand new car over there. No, everything that you say, which is you describe your ideal life. Okay, you're an architect, and the architect is building a house. You say, I want to build my dream house. I want it on an acreage because I want to have chickens. I want it on an acreage because I want a pony. You know, you begin to describe what the hills would be like, the tranquility, the caca in the distance, because you know all the wildlife, right? And by the time you're done describing this, so that when he goes back to the drawing board or she goes back to the drawing board, they will give you a panel full of windows. You will have windows all around. You'll have skylights. Why? Because if you're going to be living in that open air, you want to feel like you're outside, but you're inside. Because you want the natural light. You want the openness. You want the warmth, so you're going to have fireplaces. Now you begin to understand. You don't just go to the architect and say, well, I want a really big master bedroom. Uh, okay. Now what? So we tend to do the same thing in our daily lives by saying, oh, I want a new job. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want that. No, build the ideal life. And because you have planted the seed of the ideal life, your opportunities, the people you meet, all of those things fall into place to do what? Match the idea you have. Remember, you're bringing the invisible to visible. That's what you're doing. And so instead of spending the time talking about, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough for that. Oh, I don't know if I am worthy for this. Because you know my mother said this or my father said that, and I'm just living a shitty life and blah. You see, that's what we do. Trust me, I know. Been there, done that. Shoot, I got the sweatshirt. Come on. But be tender with self. Why? Because when you take the time to be tender with yourself, how will you speak to yourself? How will you see your reflection in the mirror? Will you judge it harshly? Or will you be like, oh, well, that's me. Oh, that's me. I am beautiful. Or you'll be a brother and you say, I'm handsome. My edges be popping. I don't know how brothers talk. Right? But it is that tenderness with self that will cause you to create your best experience. Because it is, let me say it this way then. We're trying to create individual experiences. You see how that is a roller coaster? What we want is, we always talk about creature comforts, don't we? We always talk about, well, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Why is comfort bad? It is not. The law of rhythm puts one in comfort because it is predictable and it tells you this is going to happen every time because this is the pattern. So you're meant to be comfortable. Think about that. You build your ideal life, you will have comfort in it, but there will also be excitement that follows what you say. Neville Goddard calls it building a blissful life. Blissful means you would be healthy because you can't be in pain, chronic pain, and be blissful. How are you going to be dancing on the mountaintops when your knees are like creaking? No. So he says if you create a blissful life, he's not telling you won't have challenges. I hear you. He's not telling you that you won't have challenges, because we all do. It is the law of rhythm. There is an ebb and there is a flow. Always. So when you see the ebb and the flow happening, well, stuff is going to happen. But because you have created your ideal life, you have also created a way to cope. You're not unprepared. You see? But we keep living from situation to situation to situation. That is unpredictable. It goes against nature, the law of rhythm. There's an ebb and there's a flow, which means there's something constant that unfolds. And our life is beautiful and it's meant to be a comfort to you, even though things may happen. No, listen, even in wedding vows, they tell you for sickness and in health, for rich or for poor. Why? That's ebb and flow. There's not every day, as Sinbad says, you'll get up in the beginning, you say, oh my God, there he goes. No, you'll come a point when you look at that man and go, "Ugh, there you go." Right? Or the other thing, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, look at her. And then you see her in her bonnet a few years later, you go, "Ugh, there she go." There's an ebb and there's a flow, but don't get it twisted. That marriage is beautiful because it is built on something different. It is built on the fact that you said, this is what I want for my life. And so you're not just getting married for the sake of the flowers and the food and the party and the mortgage. That's not why you do it. Because those things are just situations. And if one situation goes bad, what happens? Somebody gets their parachute and they bail. Why? Because we have not tried tenderness. We have not tried building our ideal life. This is the thing. You take the time to do it, which means you got to know who and what you are and what you like and what you don't like. Even if you start out with what you don't like will show you what you do like. But you notice, it's not a matter of, can I? Is it good enough? Am I good enough? No, that's not the question. The question is, what type of life do you want? Not whether you are deserving of it, because that is not how the principles work. The principles do not work based upon deservedness. The principles just work because that is what they're designed to do. They tell you, I am. The all is mind. The universe is mental, which means you are always aware of your existence. That's what it tells you. And it tells you whatever you say you are, that is what you will be. As within, so without. As above, so below. Why? Because everything is moving. It vibrates. It does not stay in the same place. Don't scientists tell us change is inevitable? Why is change inevitable? Because everything moves. And it moves from where it is, from what state it is, to another state. From to. That is the swing of the pendulum in polarity. They appear to be opposites, but they are not. It is just you who is moving from where you presently are to where you want to be. So you're not opposite. You will move always in the same nature. The law of correspondence, as within, so without, everything after its own kind. So if you have the attitude of, oh, my life is beautiful, well, then when you move from and go towards, you will only unfold towards what you said you were initially. So you're not moving from to by opposites. You only ever move in your nature. And that nature is dependent upon the mood. What mood, you may ask? The one that you put yourself in. So if you have a tender mood, you'll be gracious. People think, oh, you have to be gracious to other people. No, be gracious to you, because there is no other. And then when you encounter people, you are already gracious. So by extension, they benefit from your grace. You see? They tell you if you want love, you gotta love yourself. What does that even mean, to love oneself? And I tell you, build a good life, but that's conceited. That is arrogant. Look at the rest of the world. If they're not having a good life, how can I have a good life and feel good about it? Fine, go ahead, because there's not enough misery in the world as it is. And the only reason why there is misery is because people have forgotten how to be tender with themselves. That's the only reason. Look at what we keep projecting on a daily basis. Project the good, because there is good. There is only good. Really, Angela? There's only good? Yeah, there is only good. But that good becomes distorted when we forget who and what we are and what we are capable of doing. Oh, but Angela, one cannot live in a utopia. Utopia is a man-made word, okay? Live by way of principle. And that is what creates anything. Live a principled life is what it is. Principled, but we think that means moral. Again, morality. Think about where that comes from. If you are living what Neville Goddard says, you know, the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, are you not, quote unquote, moral? And then some people say, but that's like saying to the lion, I don't eat you, so why would you eat me? And I'm a gazelle. I don't eat you. And that's what people say all the time, but we don't look at life that way. There's a pattern to it. There's a pattern. And when I say nature, I am talking about the pattern of life. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, and gender. That's the whole thing there. So give yourself some tenderness. It doesn't just mean soaking in the bathtub with rose petals and goat's milk. That's not what it means. Although that could be what you want to do, well, then do that. But it doesn't stop there. It has nothing to do with physical. It is mental. You do the mental, the physical unfolds. But we try to do it and force the physical. You don't have to force life to be, it just is. So start with the mentality. Everybody talks about mental health, but they don't truly understand what it means. Without mental health, there is no other health. Because it is the mental health that determines all the other kinds of health there are. And I know that we want to hear about cause and effect. You know how you can reverse the two. Well, again, that means if you know the desired effect you want to have, then that is what you immerse yourself in. That is what you get up and you say, you know what, that is mine. Mine, 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 Jesus is mine. That's a song we used to sing in church as a youngster. Why is Jesus mine? Jesus is always mine. Because, well, you are. Right? So you've got to put it into perspective. We don't just run around and chase. You don't just say, well, I want a garden. Just roses. Where do you want that garden? How do you want it to grow? Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How do you want it to grow? You determine that. And then everything unfolds to match it. But what if you don't know? What if you don't know based upon what you see or hear? But you know based upon how you want to feel, right? You know when you get up in the morning, how you want to feel. You know when you go to lunch, how you want to feel. We'll go with that, and you will bring about the cause. That confirms the feeling for you. But take the time and be tender with yourself, because when you do that, you'll begin to see what you're capable of, because you have to test yourself every day. People always say, oh, but God is testing me. Well, you're right in that aspect. Because where is God? Oh, and it looks and it feels like a test. Remember, it is based upon cause and effect. I didn't make those principles. Those principles come from God itself, because that is how God is. If you look around, and this is why I always marvel, there is no God. That's only a word you've learned. But if you look around, you will see the complexity, yet the simplicity of existence. And it always has a beautiful pattern. And that pattern of life shows you how precise God is. God is clear. There's nothing muddy about it. When the scripture tells you, let your yes be yes and your no be no, that is simple clarity. It also goes to tell you, be hot or be cold, but don't be lukewarm. Why? Because the principles are not lukewarm. They are what they are because they are the very heart of God itself. When God says, I am that, I am, there's no, well, maybe I am. No, there was no maybe. There was a surety. There was a clarity. So when the scripture tells you to be like Christ, it's telling you to be precise. Know who you are. Know what you want. Don't vacillate. Don't be wishy-washy. Be sure of yourself. But in order to be sure of yourself, you got to take the time. You got to take the time and be tender. Tender how? What do I want? What do I want my days to be like? What kind of person do I want to be? And you build your life from there. You see, we think, and I know this is probably going to step on some corns and bunions, but that's okay. I got bunions too. So we're all in it together. Who did God turn to? Oh, who did he turn to? And he's telling you to be like him. Be like him. You've got to know yourself. You've got to know yourself. God knows. He knows himself. He's not running around talking about, does this person like me? Does that person like me? No. He says, I am that. I am. That's what he says all day. I am. I am. So whatever you say you are, as within, so without, as above, so below, that is what you shall be. But if we take the time and we are tender with ourselves, don't be harsh to yourself. Oh my God, you're such a loser. What's wrong with you? You never get this right. Everybody else is better than you. Do you know what that does to the spirit over time? It erodes you. You're supposed to build yourself, not crush yourself. And even in the building, when you have to, as Michelangelo said, he chiseled away everything that was not David. He chiseled away everything that was not David. He didn't destroy. He just removed what was not David. So you remove from your life what is not you. Is it a loss? Anyway, you know how it is. Try a little tenderness. That's what we do today. As you go out into the world today, move with ease. Move with peace of mind. And begin to decide what kind of life you want. What kind of life? And build it from there. Ow! Let's welcome everybody to the space, shall we? Now here's a name I have not said in quite some time. Well, peace and love to you too, my beautiful Synovia Indigo. Feels good to say your name again, because it has been a very long time. So welcome back, stranger. And for the others who've not made themselves known on YouTube and Facebook in the chat, I still see you. Twitter, well, Twitter is twittering today. I guess they catch it on the replay. Fanbase was in the house. Hey Moon and Dolphin Duck Matthias. Happy is kicking it with us. Flo Smiles, Afternoon Delight, and KZ are in the house. Thank you all for being here on this glorious day. And Little Bit's here too. Oh, yes, he is here in all his splendor. I brought him downstairs. And so he was singing earlier, but I don't know if he'll sing again. He might have gone back to sleep, but who knows with him. But practice. Pull a delight. Pull a delight. Get your journal out. And begin to design your ideal life experience. And you can always go back and modify because you will learn new things. But that's what you do. You get it out and you sketch it out. What kind of life do you want? Right? That's what you do. So today, as we find ourselves in the world, and we go through this life today, sprinkle the world with, sprinkle. You sprinkle the world with tenderness today. Because Lord knows we need it, don't we? We need it in this world. And you have it. So share it. Walk around with a basket full of invisible rose petals or confetti and just sprinkle it everywhere. And that would be, I know my girl Flo smiles. I know every time she's smiling, she's sprinkling that all over the world. And trust me, once you've been graced by her smile, you'll understand. Oracle Treehouse is the same thing. Because I always see her live, right? So whatever that thing is that you have, some have the smile, some have the eyes. You sprinkle that tenderness all over the world with whoever you encounter. You don't have to say anything to anybody. You are just an invisible Care Bear projecting it outward. You ever had somebody tell you, oh my God, I just love being around you? You think it's you? Nah, it's your essence. It's God that they love being around. There's such peace and tranquility there. There's such unconditional love there. And you can take that with you wherever you go and be like a balm for anybody, a blanket, a duvet for anybody, to soothe and comfort them just by your mere presence. Yeah, that's what you have. Trust me, it's not every day I want to talk to people. You know what I mean. You know, you go to the mall and trying to pick out something, and the person next to you starts talking. And I say to myself, why me? And then before they leave, they go, oh my God, you're so easy to talk to. And I'm like, but I'm a stranger. This is what I'm thinking to myself. I'm like, I'm a stranger to you. But I digress. So take it with you. Take the beauty with you, because wherever you go, that is where God is, thus making it holy. And you know I love you. Let's get the bowl, and maybe you'll get bird song. We'll see how he feels. Because, you know, he pecked me yesterday. He pecked me last night. I had him on my bed. Hey, the better man. And remember, it's his bedtime, right? He doesn't like to be handled too much at bedtime. So he pecked me. I was like, ow, how could you? But then here I am thinking, well, I'm still going to kiss you anyway, because I was petting him. I said, I'm going to kiss you anyway. And he let me kiss him. He didn't peck me. And I was like, you just particular. He's a little bit persnickety, but that's all right. That's my boy. And so he lets me kiss him. I say, I kiss. And he just lets me. But he really is the sweetest Roo. He is. And so you share that love every day, wherever you go. A kind word, a smile, whatever. It is tenderness. Tenderness. Let us get the bowl. So where can you be tender in your life today? Ponder that. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you today. Go forth and try a little tenderness. Sorry. You should hear what tomorrow's is going to be. But I digress. Anyhow, I love you all. And I'll see you tonight. I don't remember what the lecture is, but it'll be popping like last night. And sometimes I just get so worked up. But that's all right. And I yawn a lot because something else. Anywho, I love you. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fan base. Yeah. I'll see you tonight, y'all. I'll see you tonight.